Guys, what is up? Today I will be doing what if Deku ate the Mera no Mi part 2. And if YouTube doesn't mess with my uploading process, last time it took like 7 hours to upload a 2 gigabyte video. So if that doesn't happen, I will post another video today as well, and maybe even another, making 3 videos in a day. But that all depends on what happens, and we'll see. But right now, let's get into this what if. Let's go. So last time I left off, it was Ace, Sabo, and Luffy getting separate missions, with Sabo going to investigate a organization, Luffy fighting Buggy, and Ace going to find the sludge villain. So Ace is patrolling around and walks around under a bridge because there's a chance that it might be hiding near the sewers. And as soon as he is under the bridge, he says, "Come out, I know you're hiding here." And the sludge pops out from the drain behind Ace in anger and asks, "How did you know I was here?" And Ace says, "I didn't, but now I do." He launches at the sludge villain with a huge gust of fire from his fist, burning half the sludge's body. So the sludge screams in pain and is pissed that he can even feel pain right now because he's never felt pain before due to his body. He attempts to wrap around Ace, and when he gets close and he starts to try to take Ace's body because he wants a body, he says, "I got you now, kid." And then Ace responds by saying, "Are you sure about that?" And as he starts to close in on Ace, he hears one word: combustion. And there is a huge, like, just flames everywhere, and it erupts a huge explosion with the dome of fire holding in the explosion, which is Ace's special move. And he did that because he didn't want to freaking blow up anything, and he wanted to minimize the damage. And of course, he didn't completely kill the sludge villain because he is a hero. So it was only a small scale combustion. That's gonna be his favorite special move in this, which is combustion. Um, the bits of the sludge villain are left and then picked up by him and put in a thermos-like container made to hold the sludge because it was specifically his mission. So they didn't want to, find the villain and not know where to contain it. Then, as he's about to leave, he sees a strange man in front of him with a huge smile, resembling Garp, and he says, "Garp, is that you? I didn't know you were changing your hairstyle." And All Might says, "Who's Garp? I am All Might." Oh, no, scratch that. He says, "No, I'm not Garp," because All Might is not that disrespectful. He would say, "I am not Garp," because Garp is the second hero. Of course, you would know who Garp is. Sorry about that. And he says, "I am All Might." And Ace says, "Who?" And All Might says, "You don't know who I am." And Ace says, "Nope," and then flies past All Might and returns to the agency before any conversation can start. It's not like he hates All Might, but he doesn't really care right now. Garp is more of his hero, not All Might, because Garp actually took him in, and All Might didn't do that. So he doesn't hate All Might, but he doesn't really care. So he arrives to the agencies and sees Sabo sparring Garp, and Garp then stops the fight and then says that he has something to tell the both of them. So they go into his office in the agency and then tells them that they are being enrolled in UA, but of course they have to pass an exam, and that includes Luffy, obviously. And then Sabo says, "Speaking of which, where is Luffy?" And Garp mentions that the mission that he's on is harder than they thought, it was, but he should be back soon. The next day, Garp takes the two running to increase stamina, and Garp is disguised due to his popularity, kind of wearing sunglasses and a hat, while yelling at the two to continue running. And as they're running, Ace bumps into a certain someone accidentally, and then the person starts yelling at him with this arrogant like tone. And Ace was about to start a fight right there before being hit by Garp on the head and told to continue the run. They they leave that person alone, and They only have like 7 months to train because, as I said, when he turned 15, it took Ace about 3 months to integrate into normal city life. So they have about 7 months left to train. Those last 3 months were spent just accommodating to things. Garp is very lazy. He doesn't really care about most things. So he's bringing it up now. So Luffy returns 1 week after the rest start training and then joins in as well after resting a bit. And since all three of the boys were already like really strong and like trained to physical peaks, even without their quirks, the three are very strong, just like in the original. And instead of making them clean the beach, he puts them in an intense boot camp. And they run 50 laps around the base, which is pretty huge, and then do group sparring, and then eating break, and then push-ups, and then he gives them time to figure out more super moves. And they do this for 6 months straight, and then rest for 1 month. And the day of the UA entrance exam comes, and the three head out. And they arrive at the entrance and head inside as a group. And then some of them, they are recognized by certain people because they've been around a while, and they're recognized as the three terrors. The reason for his nickname is because they were very reckless at first when they were doing rescue missions. So they were scolded a lot, but they were also kind of the town's city's favorite, I guess you could say. They were like the mascots of Garp's agency because they were kids you could relate to and stuff. That nickname still stuck with them, and they all hated it. And when they head inside, they sit down in the auditorium and listen to President Mike talk about what they have to do. During the explanation, Ida stands up and speaks up and points out that Luffy is snoring. And Ace then wakes up Luffy and then apologizes to everyone, and they get over it. And everything happens as in the original. After this, the three get separated into separate blocks, and this time there are 5 blocks. Due to the influx of people applying, this means that I will be putting in a lot of new characters, so watch out for that. So they promise to be the best in each of their blocks, and Ace arrives at his block and starts stretching and then takes off his shirt because he feels comfortable more that way, and he's really allowed to do whatever the hell he wants. So he erupts in flames and is prepared to go. He's just ready. And before Ida could scold him on not wearing clothes and crap, President Mike tells him to go as Ace flies past everyone, over everyone, and through the barely open gates. And since he is the type of devil fruit he has allows him to be permeable, he just goes through it. And not like, you know what I mean. He goes through it, the barely open gates, and then starts destroying robots left and right with the great eruption of fists, of fire slashes, and any of his special moves, which are on a smaller scale of fire combustion, so he can destroy things but not destroy the landscape. People that are noticing that he's taking all the points get fired up and start racking up points as well. And once Ace racks up about 80 points, since he is flying, he doesn't feel the ground shaking, but he does see people running and a huge robot heading his direction. Instead of running away, he smirks then flies towards it before hearing a scream, and he sees a girl trapped under rubble. And this girl, of course, is Ochako Uraraka. I'm not changing that one. In his small lapse of judgment before he can head down to save Uraraka, someone bumps into him like back then, and both him and the other guy say, "Hey, watch it," before realizing that this is the same guy he bumped into during his run. His brother, Hashira. Of course, he doesn't know that. And yes, I'm calling him Hashira. So that's where I'm leaving it off. I wanted to kind of send a whole suspense thing in the middle of the exam, you know. So I hope you guys like this. And like I said, if my uploading isn't really slow, then I will do another what if today. But if it is, I'm sorry, it won't happen. So yeah, I hope you guys like this video, and I will see you guys in maybe a few.